Welcome again, everyone. It's so wonderful to get together, all lovers of outdoors, staying seriously indoors. They're excited about Mount Kilimanjaro. So let's start right away. We start with a small trailer, and then off we go on this wonderful, beautiful journey with Faisal. Santosh, you want to start the trailer?
YouTube live. That was very exciting. And I'm super excited to welcome my very, very dear friend Faisal for this talk. Faisal and I know each other for a little over 12 years now. We're very old friends. I admire him a lot. He has taken some very brave decisions in his life, and he has a joy of a child and a wisdom of a rishi. He's like a combination of both. I'm going to read a small para of something that he's written. He writes really well. I realize that flights are not about self-competing on numbers or personal bests. It is more about using the day for its best potential, which is a combination of the weather, my physical and mental condition, and to be fully immersed, to enjoy it. So this, I think, very nicely encapsulates how his attitude is towards the sport, and I think even towards life. Welcome, Faisal. Thank you so much for joining us. And I'm sure our pilots will love to listen to you. So
Thanks a lot,
please
Anita.
go ahead.
Thanks a lot. Really appreciate that.
If you could start with telling us a little bit about yourself, what got you to flying and what keeps you flying?
Okay, great. So I think to make it also connect with the team here, so I'll be sharing some slides and then we can refer to it. Can you see my video as well as the PowerPoint?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Yep.
Okay, great. So I'll take you through a personal introduction, my flying background, and then we'll take you through a visual story for the preparation and the flights on Kilimanjaro. I'm from Saudi Arabia. I was born there, and I'm the oldest of 8 brothers and sisters. We're quite a big family, and studied chemical engineering in Saudi Arabia. And after that, at the age of 23, I left Saudi Arabia. So almost half of my life was in Saudi Arabia, and then after that, I went abroad. I worked in Dubai for 5 years. I worked in Thailand as well 3 years, and that's where I knew about Templepilot. Then I moved to Kuwait for a couple of years, then Morocco for 4 years, Algeria for 3 years, and now in Switzerland for the last 9 months. So although my nationality is Saudi, but I consider myself I'm from everywhere, okay? from this world and out of this world as well. I'm now 45. So half of my life was lived in Saudi, the other half was outside. And just less than a year ago, I decided to stop working. So I thought, okay, I spent around 22 years of life working for a corporation. And that was something which was really enjoyable for me. But I want to do something else and I want to pursue something completely different. And I prepared myself and resigned from a very strong position in the company and started a master's in positive psychology, moved to Interlaken, where there are lakes that I can cycle, there are mountains that I can fly, lots of hiking routes, running routes, and it's just beautiful nature there. And I'm really happy that I made that decision. But for the last 8 weeks, I've been in Morocco in the lockdown. So still, I think it's just an example of that. I don't belong to one place. So I'm everywhere depending on the timing. I'd like to share something personal, which is about my purpose. And this is something that probably from 2010 onward that I've been thinking of. But I did not formulate like very clearly at that time, but it was like in these two key areas. And the first area which I wanted to be my key purpose in life is to have a positive influence and impact on the people around me. So whether that mentally, financially, physically, emotionally. And in order to have that positive influence, I need to be positive and to have that influence on myself first. So that was one of the key elements. And the second element of my purpose was to live in a state of continuous learning and sharing. And this is one of the key things for me. I get a lot of joy out of learning. And even when I did my strength identification exercise, I found that my top strength is the love of learning. And if something really gives me learning, then I get attracted to it. So that was with me from around 2010 until 2017. And then really I was blessed that I joined a workshop about purpose creation. And I formulated this nice sentence for me as my purpose, combining my lifestyle, combining my values and what I appreciate and what I want. And this is to inspire myself and others to reach their summits. And whether these summits are challenges in their lives, whether it's goals, aspirations, I like to inspire others, okay, and like to be inspired as well. So that's on myself and where I'm from and how I see life in general. Okay. Moving into the flying, yes?
Yeah.
Go ahead. Anita.
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
Okay, cool. So what got me into flying? At that time, I used to work in Thailand. And my lifestyle was very, very hedonic lifestyle, lots of parties, beaches, late nights. And I kind of like got bored of it and I wanted to do something different. And I found the advertisement about Templepilots and Bali trip. So I connected with you and said, okay, I want to come. So I remember it was the summer of 2008 where I joined and it was really great to learn from Avi directly. And I think I just spent 5 days where I had my first solo and then I said, I'm coming again. So I went to work for, I think, 2 weeks. I took another holiday and came back for Bali again for 10 days. And that was really the start. It was really amazing to start there. But unfortunately, I had almost a 3 years gap. I think maybe in that 3 years, I just came once or twice. I came maybe for 3 days to Kamshet. And then I went to maybe start of 2012 or end of 2011, went to Bir. And it was very challenging to fly back again after a gap into that condition. So I really realized that for me, if I really love flying and I want to fly, then continuity is something which is really, really essential for me. I can't just keep on having these long gaps and think that I know how to fly. So I restarted in 2012 and I knew about a site in Morocco. At that time, I moved to Morocco and I was working there. And I knew about a site in Morocco from someone in India. So it was really funny that I was living in Morocco and there was a site 4 hours drive from me, but I did not know about it. And I knew it from a guy called Pankaj. He's the one that I bought my gear from, the Gen Glider, through you, Avi, in Delhi.
Okay.
Yeah, and he said there is a French guy who teaches in Morocco. Do you know him? I said, no, I don't know him. So he gave me his number, contacted him. And from that time, when I went back to Morocco, most of the weekends, I'm in that site, relearned and practiced, progressed a lot. Then I started coming back to India, going to France. So really the flight progression time was 2012 to 2014. This is where I used most of the weekends of the seasons to go fly in the weekend and then come back to work. So it was really enjoyable and fun. And whenever I have a holiday, also I used to travel. Until that time, I did not know much about what's there in flying. So it was really just local, short flights. But then when I knew about the cross country, started the cross country in 2014 and started focusing more of my holidays really about flying. And then I started to go to more countries and to spend more time in paragliding. But the thing with my holidays, I used to split them into 2 or 3 days with the weekend go. So I can have like a 4 days, 5 days block, fly, and then come back and continue working. So this gave me the possibility to be very frequent in flying, and I don't have like 2 or 3 months gap. And from 2016 onward, where I started practicing with the hike and fly, and really for me, the hike and fly, the first idea came from Kilimanjaro, and this is where it inspired me to test it and then to practice it into different places. And then I started to go more countries in Europe. At that time, I was living in Algeria, and the flight from Algiers to Barcelona was 50 minutes flight. So it was very easy for me to finish work, go to Barcelona, fly over there in the weekend, come back 7 o'clock in the morning directly to the office. So I used to spend a lot of time in Spain and also other places at that time and to progress. So I was not just flying alone, but attended lots of courses and so on in order to keep on learning and practicing at the same time. So this is what I mentioned is really, I used to take lots of short holidays so I can keep on flying frequently. And one of the things that really helped me is that because my work was demanding, so from December of the previous year, I map all the trips that I want to do, apply for my leave, get it approved, and then just go with that. So even if something comes for work, I know how to prioritize and to ensure that already my plan is already locked in place and somebody else will be doing that job.
Okay, can you hear me?
Okay,
I can.
Okay. So thank you. And just a quick question, because you've done so much of planning of your work and your holidays and everything around flying.
Yeah.
So what was it that kept you going back to flying?
Okay.
What was it about flying that made you rearrange, your life and keep going back to it?
Exactly. So many things. I mean, one of the things is that through flying, I was able to see nature in a new perspective. Being in the valley, going to the mountain, seeing, that huge mountain on the top, okay? But then within half an hour, 1 hour, I'm 2,000 meters above that ridge, and I see that whole vast view. So I think that was one of the things that really usually got me back, is to see nature, to see the landscape in a different way. And I used to be very keen into seeing these new places with an angle and a perspective, which is not available to everyone. So that was one of the things. Another thing is that most of the people that I used to meet for paragliding, pilots, the people who live around the areas of flying, very simple, very nice, very welcoming. And it used to be really a fun time to be with them, whether it's before going to the site or while flying or even in the evening when I come back. A third element is that most of the flying is away from the big cities. So it was in places where there is nature, lakes, glaciers, snow, rocks, birds, lots of things. So it was really amazing. But also I found that it was very meditative and it was very energizing. So work was extremely demanding when I'm there, but I found that when I go fly and come back, that I come fully energized. Although it used to be a lot of work, traveling, maybe sometimes driving for 2 or 3 hours, reaching to the site, waking up early, walking, and so on. But all that energy was really worth it, and it was giving me more energy. So I felt that I'm a better person, I'm a better employee also in the company, a better colleague. So that's one of the things which was there. And I think, yeah, go ahead.
You've written something very interesting about all the birds you've flown with in one of your write-ups. I really like that. It was really interesting to read about that.
Yeah.
And there are quite a few types of birds, yeah.
Exactly. I mean, it's and I think many times I was saved by birds. And the more that I started looking for birds while I'm flying, I think I started to fly longer. But when I'm just into myself, then I bomb out and go down. But when I'm really open and to see, okay, and then suddenly there's a bird over there. Yeah. And just be close to that bird is something amazing.
Yeah, a lot of our club pilots will relate to what you're saying. So we'll come back to your Kilimanjaro trip. Faisal, you're there?
Yes, I'm there.
Okay. So if you can tell us a little bit about your prep, not only physical, but even your mental and, what all did you go through to prepare for this huge event?
Okay,
yeah.
Perfect. Okay, great. Great. So the challenge of Kilimanjaro came in 2016. So that was at the start of 2016. At that time, I was living in Algeria. And I moved to work in Algeria for a few reasons. One of them is that I was surrounded by mountains and there were flying sites. And I said, I want to come to this country to fly and to explore nature. But then I found this video on Facebook, a trailer about Wings of Kilimanjaro. And it was showing that, okay, there is this charity event that we can join for the charity and we can get the permission to fly from the top of the Kilimanjaro summit. And that was like, wow, that's really amazing. I didn't do a hike and fly before. And for me, hiking alone is something that I like to do, but the most hike I've done ever was a day and a half. So really, I don't consider myself as someone who hike a lot. I like flying, but even in flying, maybe I flew from 2,000 meter, 2,500 meter, but to fly from 5,900 meters almost, that's something which is really amazing. So it was really intriguing for me. And there was that question is that, can I do it? Because I'm not ready now. So I thought, okay, I will enroll here. And it's a good goal to practice and to prepare myself. So as everyone knows, it's in Tanzania and it's a freestanding mountain and the peak is around 5,885 meters. It's not a very, very challenging mountain to hike, but there are risks with it. So I'll share with you how was my preparation. Okay, I'll tell you. Before I tell about the preparation, I will put what were my objectives, okay, from the trip. So the first thing is that I wanted to reach the summit healthy without blisters, because I was hearing a lot about people who do these climbs and they have cuts and they have blisters and pain and all these kind of things. And really, I'm someone who likes to take care of myself. And I said, okay, I'd like to do it, but I will do it in a way which is still self-caring. And the second objective is flying off Kilimanjaro. This is something which is really important, and to do it in a safe way and to land in a safe way. And then to raise the funds for the charity, which is a $5,000 for the fund, on top of the $5,000 that I have to pay for the fees and for the license. When it comes to the preparation, I checked these elements. So split it into these parts. What's my physical level? Okay, am I fit for it or not? What's my hiking experience? What's my flying level and skill? What's my mindset? And any advanced planning that's required for work. So I'll take you through each one of these elements and what did I do in order to prepare myself from February until August 2016, because the trip was in September 2016. So I had something like 6 months to prepare myself, and I think that was quite a good timing. But also, I put what are the risks which are there, okay? One of the key risks is the acute mountain sickness and hypoxia, which is a lower oxygen level in the blood that can make people very sick, and it can lead to fatality at the end if it's not attended well. I did not have any experience with that in the past, so I thought, okay, let me prepare myself physically, so at least, although there is no guarantee that I can go and I'm physically fit. The second risk is taking off at thin air. The pressure is low, the density of the air is low, so the wing and the canopy does not get filled with the same air as at lower level. So it requires much faster speed, and at that level of height, also the mind cannot be sometimes functioning at its full capacity, and it can be risky. So this is something that I needed to be aware of. Premature landing, since some people had it also in the past, during the tests of the expedition, is to land earlier than the area and then into the forest, and it's very difficult to go out from that area. Since it's something which I did not do in a combined way, both the hiking and the flying at that level, is that there is a compounded load cognitively and physically, okay, due to lack of sleep, the temperature, mental pressure, and so on. Also, there is a possibility of risk that comes from work. Something might be coming suddenly or important, and then maybe the trip will be canceled. But then I said, how will I deal with that? And then how to deal with tough weather at the summit, okay? Not just with flying, but also with me and my mindset, because this expedition took place 3 years ago, and Adrian McRae, who organizes the trip, he did a fantastic job getting 100 people into the summit, but unfortunately the weather was extremely strong, and they were not able to fly. They stayed for a couple of days, and they were not able to fly, so they went down, all of them, except one guy from Nepal. His name is Babu. And he took off at extreme conditions. So he was the only one who was able to fly and to come down on his own risk. But then I needed to prepare myself also for this one. And will I be able really to go to the top? And if I don't fly, hike down and not complete that mission, okay? So these were the risks which were there. So now I'll take you through the preparation, okay? Is there any question, Anita, or continue the preparation?
Please continue with the preparation.
Great. So in the physical preparation, I just saw how the day looked like. And from what I searched, very light search. I did not want to do a lot of detailed search that would give me lots of prejudgment about the trip. So I knew that the days could be at the beginning from 7 to 10 hours of hike. Then it will reduce with the hike to 4 or 5 hours per day. I worked with a coach remotely because in Algeria, there were no coaches or gyms. And we prepared a plan to be matching that level, and it's focused on my aerobic ability. I used to go to the gym, but I used to do a lot of weights. So we changed that program to reduce the weight exercises and to do more of the high intensity interval training, and to do lots of the long and slow inclined walks on the treadmill, as well as the elliptic trainer. At a low heart rate. So I used to do something like 65 to 80% of my heart rate. And the trick here was not to go really at high speed, but how can I maintain for a couple of hours or 2.5 hours at a heart rate of 120 or 130, and to do that on a regular basis. I experimented with intermittent fasting as well. I lost a bit of fat from that, which was really good, but then I could not sustain it. I did not like it that much. And also I wanted to plan physically to go without any medication, because from the beginning when we enrolled, they said, okay, you can take this medication and this will reduce the possibility of getting acute mountain sickness. But then I thought, I don't think that I will go to that expedition again. So if I mess it up from the beginning by taking medication, I will not throw my physical level. I will go without any medication. And in case something goes in the top, there is a team that will manage So I said I will go natural, and that was my key focus, to prepare myself. Then the second element was the flying preparation. So at that time, I used to fly short XC flights, but I did not do any hiking, or hike and fly. So I said, okay, I need to really look at my skill, where it is, and let me upskill myself on that flying. So I went for more cross-country. I went to Panchgani in 2016. It was really nice, enjoyable cross-country flying at that time in strong conditions. I took my SIV. So I went in May 2016 to Uludeniz, and I had my SIV on 2 wings. At that time, I had the Ikuma, which is a B. I had the BGD base, which was also a B. And I thought of doing on both wings and to see how it is. And I learned a lot from the SIV, which was there. And it gave me a lot of confidence that in case there are collapses or something that goes wrong, that already my memory knows how to deal with that. At that year also, around middle of the year, I applied and obtained the APPI advanced license. So I went through the test and took the license. I went to Dundupila for 3 days to practice ground handling. The wind was almost like 30K and 3 days of ground handling that I experimented there to practice it more. And then I went for a 2-day trip to Switzerland in July for a hike and fly. And that was my first ever hike and fly trip. And it was really nice that whatever I was preparing the previous 5 months is that, okay, let me go and have a flavor of that. Go to a new place, a new mountain, hike it to a small takeoff place, take off from there, and then land, wherever I land and I finish from that trip. So it was really a nice exercise. And I've done it with Thomas Theurillat here from One Day Coaching. And also it boosted my confidence that, okay, now I've done here 2 days. Now when I go there, I will be able to extend it for a longer period. Also, I have a very good friend in Algeria, Ammar, who started flying in 2014, but excelled and accelerated very, very fast. And we used to go to his area and experiment with new launches. So when we see a mountain that it really looks good, it has a very nice, safe place for launching. We go there, we stay there for some time, look at the wind, assess it, what are the possible landings, and experimented. And for me, before that, it was really impossible to think that I will go and fly from new places. But going, assessing a new site and flying from there multiple times really helped me to say, okay, now I can practice hike and fly even more. And I was really happy to start these flying sighted with Ammar. So I thought that this goal of Kilimanjaro really brought a lot of benefits in terms of upskilling myself and putting a structure around how I come about my upskilling in terms of flying. I think if I did not plan Kilimanjaro in that year, maybe I've done SIV, maybe this or that, but it would not be really structured and clear about these elements. Yeah. Because these were like my learning goals. I wanted to go and do fly from Kilimanjaro, but in order to do that output, I need to have learning goals that I need to achieve. And when I have these learning goals, then I will be able to increase the success rate of flying of Kilimanjaro. This is a shot from my SIV and the ICOMA doing the stall. And I think it was extremely scary before doing it, but the moment that I've done it, it was just really that, okay, that was a wrong perception. And actually it was really nice doing the stall and then the gradual release until the wing is up and getting it corrected. And this is from a frontal with a speed bar on the BGD. It was a very, very mild wing, by the way, so it recovers extremely well. But I sold it to a friend and I have just the ICOMA now. So I'm really glad that I took the SIV course. And this is from the 1st of July, 2016, from my first ever hike and fly, which was in Switzerland. And it was just around maybe 600 meters of a hike, going to the top left side of the photo and just flying from there and going to the valley of Lauterbrunnen and landing over there. So I think all these small experiences of learning really added up to the confidence level and to the skill level gradually that made me be ready for the hike. So that was on the flying part. Okay. Then we come into the mindset preparation. I mentioned this, that I started here learning something different about goal setting. Before, most of my goals were output goals. I want to fly this distance. I want to fly from this place. I want to run at this pace. I want to finish this race, and so on, okay? And if I don't achieve it, it gets me extremely frustrated, okay? And it gets me unhappy. And I get into this analytical mode of what went wrong, and was it me? Was it the weather? Was it all these kind of things? And then instead of doing something that I enjoy, I ended up getting frustrated many times. And what I've learned during the the coaching at this time with Thomas and the hike and fly is how can I split my goal and spread them into various types, like learning goals, process goals, execution goals. And if I focus on these, then the output and the result most probably will happen by itself without really thinking about it too much. And if the result did not happen, then I would know that I've done whatever possible within my control and that it was something which is outside my control. So that was really a transformation in the way of thinking and really to think about input goals. Another element, which is being present and to take everything as a step-by-step. So if I'm doing a hike now, I will just think about this step, this meter, and the next meter. There is no point of thinking about the summit. There is no point of thinking about next day, which they said that it will be a challenging hike and so on. I just need to do the best as of now, okay? And being the best as of now, enjoying what I'm doing now, I will be ready. I will save my energy, okay? And be as positive as possible in order to give my best for the next hour and the next day and the summit day. And this is something that also I learned a lot from the porters who were with us and the support team during the hike, the step-by-step approach. It's not easy because the mind a lot of times wander and go to the future and wants to maybe imagine how is it going to be, sometimes maybe exciting, maybe sometimes a fear, whatever it is. But really all what we can do is just focus on now. And that's the key thing, okay? Also, I learned in the mindset preparation, the mental strength that I will share in the next slide, which is about the 3 C's. What is the challenge that I'm getting into? What is my commitment for that challenge? And what are my controls and what's outside my control? So for example, in this trip, I knew that what's in my control is my commitment level, okay? That I'm going to go for this 100%. This is what I can control. I can control my pace, whether I go at a 1 kilometer per hour speed or 5 kilometers per hour speed. This is something which is in my control, and not to be dragged with others or not to be jealous that other people are very fit and fast, or some people have lots of experience and they can be, at a lower energy exertion and so on. So just focus on my pace. I can control my attitude, okay? How I'm going to behave now. My decisions also are in my control, but what's not in my control is the weather or the circumstances which are around me. So this is something which is not in my control. And to explain more these 3 elements of the mental strength, the way that I studied it for it to work is that many times we get into a challenge, but actually it's not a challenge which I chose. Maybe I chose it because it looks good, or maybe because it's nice around friends, or maybe it's something that I think I have to do, okay? But that doesn't work, okay? For a challenge really to work, it needs to be really intrinsic, meaningful for me, something that I really own it, okay? So for example, about Kilimanjaro, I just told people in order to get the funding, okay? But really I did not tell about the details, okay? Because I wanted it to be a very personal experience for me. And then after I do it, I can share it. So there's a big difference in the challenge level. So keeping the challenge is something that really I wanted and I bought into it, made it a challenge that I want to do. And whatever difficulty that I will face, it will make me go through it. Then when it comes to the commitment, my commitment was about the clarity of the goals, input goals and output goals. My commitment was on the learning, that I'm really committed to learn as much as possible, mentally, physically, and also on the flying. I'm committed to have a positive attitude and to stay positive. I was committed not to have any comparison with anybody else in the group and not to judge myself. In most of the days, I was the person who is in the last of the hike. So even we had some days that some people were so fast that they used to go all the way to the camp and they used to come down all the way to me and then they walk back again with me. So I was extremely slow, but then I said, I'm just enjoying it. Okay, I'm doing it on my own pace. I'm not going to run because I knew if I run, then that's not my pace and I might burn out. So let me do it on my own pace. I will not judge that I'm slower. I will not judge that I'm not experienced. that's just me, okay? And I was very positive, and that's my commitment. And I was committed for self-care and safety. So if I did not feel good in my shoes, I will stop, I will redo it. If I was not feeling good in my clothes, I will stop and I will see what's not really good and then maybe change or maybe correct it, okay? So self-care and safety was really important for me. And finally, what's in control is being present, my thoughts, okay? What are the inputs? And also to accept what's not in my control, okay? That's what's one of the key things. What I found really helped me to keep me present, I was playing unbelievable, amazing chill out music that really fit in with all the surrounding area around me. And it just blended, okay? That I just felt at one, okay, with myself and with my height.
I was just going to ask you that even in the earlier slide, what you mentioned about attitude and the pace, it's one thing to know that I need to do this, but it's another to actually be able to do it. And that, of course, would have required a little more than just being in the present moment. It's very, I know I need to be present, but like how? If you were to tell it to the pilots here, what did you do with yourself or with your mind to achieve something like knowing that I don't have to focus on the result. I'll just take one step at a time. That's a big learning. And it'll not just come to you.
I think maybe there is a bit of appreciation and gratitude, which was there.
Yes.
That I was saying, already I'm able to join this group. I'm already being able to come to this beautiful mountain, which is not everybody can come. So just being here is a great opportunity. Let me really enjoy it. Just being able to summit without flying is a challenge, and it's a big task for so many people, okay? So for me, just to be able to be here, let me enjoy the surrounding, let me use it for the best possible way, and not to think much about, that will I be able to finish or not, will I fly or not, and to get into all these thoughts.
So with the enormous planning that you had, finally, you just sort of simplified it for yourself.
Yeah, I think it's a simplification, as you said. And once I'm there, it's like surrendering. Now I'm here. Let me enjoy what's here. Seeing plants for the first time, seeing different kind of rocks, meeting different people from different places. So I said there is a lot to enjoy. Yeah, there is a lot to enjoy here that if I get busy with my thoughts, I will miss out on all what's around me. So let me just enjoy it and, being, I think, observant of what's really good around me. I think that was what was the key thing. And also being present when I did not feel good and not to feel bad about it.
Nice.
And how to attend to it. Because some people don't feel good. It's like, oh, why? I'm not strong or this or that. But no, what can I do now? I think that's the thing, rest.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Faisal. We have a question.
Yeah.
I think it's a good moment to, handle that.
Okay.
I think it's about hypoxia and also. Pratik, you want to ask a question, please?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Hi, Faisal. I think you mentioned about acute mountain sickness, AMS, and hypoxia as one of your points that you were really taking care of.
Yeah.
And was that a concern for you only to climb to the summit or also while you were flying? Because I think as paragliders, we ascend really quickly, not giving our body much time to acclimatize to the thin air. So isn't that something that's already wasn't already part of your thought process when you used to go up to cloud base, or was it just for climbing the Kilimanjaro summit?
Okay. See, one of the things is that through this going on Kilimanjaro, the team was experienced to take the route, which enabled us to acclimatize very well. So we used to take it in very gradual level. And within the day, we used to go sometimes higher, let's say to a 4,000 meter, stay there for an hour, and then come and camp at 3,500. So we are already exposed to a higher level at slow pace, and then come down, sleep there, and then go for another higher level. But during the flight of Kilimanjaro, which I will come later on, actually we did not climb anything. I mean, from the summit, it was just a glide down. So in fact, the body was adapting to go back into a better pressure and to more oxygen. So while flying, oxygen used to increase because we were descending rather than ascending. So this is on Kilimanjaro, but on other trips, on other flights, the most that I got maybe was 3,500 meters, which was quite okay. I did not feel hypoxic at that time while flying.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Should we go ahead to the...
Yeah.
Should we move? Pratik, you're done?
Yeah. If you're interested, there is a research, by the way, on the impact of hypoxia on paragliding pilot. Even it was done on heights up to 8,000 meters.
Oh, interesting.
That I can share, yeah.
Yeah, I'll read that. Thank you.
Okay. Then in terms of the cost, the expedition cost was $5,000 for the permit to fly. And 2016, that permit used to be just given to Wings of Kilimanjaro, and it was not common to fly, so it was more expensive. And the group that we went with also in terms of organization of the hike, extremely professional and was really helpful in terms of making it easier for us. So it was on the higher side in terms of cost, but there are expeditions that can be at 2,000, 2,500 using different routes. And then raised $5,000. And for me to excite my friends more to chip in, I told anyone that will raise money that I will chip in with the same value. So if somebody chip in with $100, I will put $100 from my money, which means that it's really just raising $2,500 and the other $2,500 is from me. Yeah. And then the cost for all the other flying trips, which I think maybe I was not going to do all of them, but really it added up and it was something that I wanted to do. So 2 weeks before the trip to Kilimanjaro. So at the start of September, I was due to fly middle of September from Algeria to Tanzania. And just 2 weeks before the travel, my mind started coming. Okay, Faisal, are you ready now? I was like, oh, I prepared 6 months for it now. So what is this? Which is coming? I was like, no, are you sure? All these risks, maybe you go to the top and you don't fly. You know, it's like, ugh. And then I just got back into myself. I say, no, I'm ready. I learned, I practiced, and it's something that I really want to do. And despite this bit of fear that came in, I think the joy of going there and going for the hike and the flight and meeting the people is something that I really wanted to do. But at the same time, on that year, there was a transformation project in the company. I was the country director for the company, and I kicked off the project in May. And it happened that in end of September is the launch of the project. And it was something that as a head of the company, everybody thinks that I have to be there. But then I said, no, this is a trip that already I booked almost 8 months. I paid the money, and it's a good time to show if my team really can handle the situation or not, if I'm not there. And I was very clear with everybody, with the vice president, with my team members, that I understand that this is like the key project for the year, but we worked on it together for a long time. And how can I hand over to my vice president, and I can hand over also to my team members with clarity that I can disconnect 100%. Because the moment I traveled, I did not use my mobile with anybody until I came back again. So I told them that I will disconnect 100%. And this is the project that you will handle now and you will launch. So for me, I was very clear when it comes to work about what's really for me and what's also for work. And that balance to ensure that I don't end up canceling my trips for the sake of work. And that made me to progress well and to deliver a lot of work as well. Because if I sacrificed a lot of my personal life, canceling trips and stuff, you know, for work, I think that was going to be something which I would not feel good about. Maybe it will lead to frustration or to lead to guilt or whatever it is. So I handed it over and I went and I traveled to Tanzania. It was a very long flight from Algeria to Doha to Dar es Salaam and then to Moshi. And they gave us a brief. Okay, so it was meeting the first group for the first time. Very nice debrief about the trip. A lot of attention on safety, which was really great. we were shown videos from previous attempts during the exploration phase for tandems and for solo. And that was like, oops, what did I get myself into? I did not expect it to be like this. So we were shown videos of tandems. They were trying to take off, but just few steps and then they land again. Few steps, land again, and they stop. You know, and I was like, oh, this is not like a normal takeoff here. It's really, really a challenging one. But it prepared me a lot to expect that when I take off, I will not be able just to fly directly. That mentally I'm expecting that I will take off, touch again, touch again, touch again, and then I will leave that mountain. So I think that was really good that we were shown these videos. And we were shown also what were the routes and the day plans. If we look at Kilimanjaro, for those who did not see it, this is the peak here, and this is the top view, seeing the mountain from the top. And there are about 6 routes to fly Kilimanjaro from different places. So the route that we took was the Machami route, which is on the left, bottom left of the slide. And this Machami route usually is done between 6 to 9 days. Okay. So 6 to 9 days is very, very good time for acclimatization. And for all of us, because we don't have like that high altitude experience in the past, to be able to acclimatize and to be at good energy at the peak. So that was the plan. We were told the plan, and each day how many meters we will ascend and so on. And we met also with the team members. So we were 26 team members, 16 pilots, and 10 tandem passengers. So some of the people who came did not fly, but they participated in the charity in order to fly a tandem with some of the professional pilots with us. We had a safety officer. We had a medical doctor that also was going to join as a tandem passenger. And we had like a mixed people in the group. It was a really amazing group. We had artists, freelancers, instructors, employees, entrepreneurs, and you name it. So it was really a nice mix. And there was a film crew of 4 people. It's called Nados Films. And they were planning to shoot a documentary, which is called Wings of Kilimanjaro. Now it's already launched in the internet, so you can see it. It's around 20 minutes. The story of 2 of the pilots from the group with us. And they were saying the story from the start until the end. So also it was very nice to be around a film crew, and they were playing with their drones and professional cameras and coming, and in certain routes they say, okay, come from this direction or this direction. It was really nice. And the age was from 30 all the way to 65. So it was also diverse from age. The daily program was a supported hike. So there was a big crew supporting us in terms of setting up the tents, the food, and so on. And this made it really easier for us that we just need to focus, go to the top and fly. We did not take the route which has huts. So there is a different route that you don't need to take tents or a lot of food, because there are huts there and you can take it. But our route was a longer one. We used to do medical checks twice, and that was something which was really good to check with ourselves and how we feel, our breathing, the heart rate, the oxygen level also, and the blood. And we used to do 7 to 10 hours in the first days, then 5 to 6 hours of hike in the other 3 days. So the program was around 6 days of hiking, and then 3 days are allowed at the top for us to fly from the top down. And it was either we fly from the first day of the summit. If the conditions are not good, we camp there the second day. If it's not good, we camp and the third day. So that sounds like reasonable in terms of time, that there's a good chance that for us to fly from the top. And then the summit night was, we were told that we will sleep just for a few hours in the evening, and then we'll start the hike from 10 o'clock at night until 7 o'clock in the morning. So that was like a long stretch of hiking in the evening. And then from 7 o'clock in the morning, when we reach there, we fly. So that was our program. So now I'll take you through the days, and each of these days, how did it look like for me? So the first day was just coming to the Machami gate. It was at a very low altitude. Maybe we just reached to 1,500 meters. The camp was set, and this is how it looked like. So it was just being in nature on the first day, not a very big hike. The next day in the morning, This is the way that it looked from my tent. So usually there was like a big tent for us to eat and to drink, and each person has one of these tents. So this is when I woke up in the morning, and the clouds and the fog was around me. And then that was the start of the day. Almost with sunrise, we start just automatically waking up. The second day started the hike, and if you can see the route, there's a small route in the middle of and then people are walking on that hike, and it was just amazing. I mean, how not to be present with such a view, looking at the clouds at the bottom, and just this amazing view here. And that was the camp on the second day. So the camp was set. At this camp, there was the toilets, which was something which was good also for us. And we can see the Mount Kilimanjaro from the side, okay? So maybe here we were somewhere around, I think, 3,000 meter or 2,700, something like that on this day. Then this is also on the second day in the evening. This is the way that it looked like at sunset. That mountain is around 70 kilometers away. And the peak was something like maybe 5,000, I think, or 4,500. Miro mountain. So it was really nice to have that clarity, the cloud base at the bottom, the trees, and to see this view. Also, we were able to play with night photography and just to take some views of the galaxy around us, the clarity of the skies. It was very beautiful and nice. Then the fourth day, we went to a place called Lava Tower, acclimatize, and then come down. And you can see the roots. I mean, it's like just walking in the moon. In that desert. Then the fifth day, we camped around maybe 4,800 meters, and we were seeing Mawenzi mountain at 5,200 meters on the other side, okay, on the fifth day. And also looking at the stars in the evening, and this is one of the professional pilots, professional film crew, asked me just to pose and to send my fingers to the sky and looking at the galaxy and the cloud base at the bottom. So it was really amazing memories, just enjoying day and night and looking at the sea of clouds at the evening also and taking photos with it. So these were just like on the routes up. The sixth day was quite difficult because as I climbed up, it used to get really slower, oxygen is less. And on that day, I started to get a headache, something that I did not have in the past. And it's like, oh, now I'm really, not feeling good. So just resting, acclimatizing, trying to sleep as much as possible, drinking as much as I can. I remember that day I did not have really appetite to eat, but I needed to eat because I needed energy. So it was not really an easy day. And then went to sleep at 6 p.m. Almost forcing myself to sleep because I know that I have to start a hike at 10 o'clock at night and to move up. So that was on the sixth day. So it took us around 8 hours to do 1,000 meters of elevation to reach on the summit. It was freezing temperature. So I remember wearing the jackets, and I used to get these warmers, the one in plastic that you just tear apart and it will keep you warm for a few hours. So I put one with my camelback, I put one in my front and just keep on walking with that. I was extremely present at that time. I think the darkness, the stars, the very, very slow hike, the music just made it, I think surreal to be able to have that energy and to take it gradually one by one. And the crew made a very good job in ensuring that no one will overtake anybody else. And we stayed in a sequence on the same rhythm, the same pace, all the way to the top. And that was like feeling all of us as if we are just one unit, really going to the top. That was something which was really amazing. It was funny sometimes hearing some screams and some lights from the top, some people screaming. And I think, it was really funny sometimes. But anyway, just focus and move on. And then by sunrise, I was there at the top. So this is Jeff. He was one of the team members and solo pilots who helped me really a lot in terms of understanding mountains. He's a mountaineer and he's specialized in summiting. he summited Kilimanjaro the day before we go on the summit. So he did it twice on the same day. And it was really amazing skill and strength that he has. So I learned a lot from him, summited there, and then all of us, we were there. So we stayed maybe half an hour, 45 minutes. The excitement was there. And then now let's get the job done. Okay, let's be ready for flying. And this is where I stopped for some time on my own, looking down. This is the glacier at Kilimanjaro. I say, okay, this is where we will fly. And if you can see, there is also a solo pilot on the right setting up the wing. And on the left side, there were other tandem pilots who were setting up and going there. And at that time, I was not fully in my energy. Okay, so I was like, I'm getting a bit dizzy now, not sleeping. So I just approached the team and I said, okay, I'm really dizzy. And they said, okay, it's fine. They brought the oxygen, maybe 5-10 minutes of oxygen. It was really refreshing to have that oxygen back again. I get a drink which has like electrolytes and sweets. I had that drink, and then I regained my full energy back again. At that time, I started seeing the tandem pilots' attempts to fly. And these tandem pilots are professional instructors, you know, but all of us, we were in an unusual situation. But some of them, the passengers did not fly a lot before and did not have that energy. So few attempts of running by the tandem, but within 2 or 3 steps, the passenger could not move, stumble, and the whole thing just come down. And then carry the whole thing, come back again. Another trial, it failed. And I was like, oops, these are very professional and not able to take off. Now let me just focus on myself, okay? I don't want to look around. And then one guy solo, he ran and he took off. And that gave us all the hope that, okay, it might be easier for the solo to fly. So I took my gear, set it up there, but I was talking to myself. It's like, Faisal, opened the bag. I opened the bag. Take the helmet, wear the helmet. I was telling myself what to do. It was like a checklist because I don't think I was functioning 100%, okay? So I was telling myself, let me say it, see it, and ensure that I do these things. Otherwise, I might forget that I buckle myself or that I do it well. But there was also a safety officer who did a great job coming and checking me, all is okay, and then going. So it was a really unusual takeoff, that's the thing. It was 0 wind almost, but a few minutes before I take off, there was like a 10, 15K wind that came, and that was really nice time for me to start flying. And that was the time that I started taking off. I chose to come with a normal harness, not a pod harness, because it's easier at these conditions, just with a normal harness. No point of a pod over there. And I took off. I stayed hanging on the wing. And then I started seeing myself coming down again. So maybe a few meters, I'm down again. But I was ready because I saw it in the videos. I started running. The wing was to the right, a bit of correction, flew, and then touched. And I think then, you know, the safety officer said stop. But I was really going fast and down. And I said, I know that I'm handling the wing. I know that I'm going to get there. I'm not stopping. And I just continued. And maybe it took me 3 runs and hops until I just took off until the end. Because I knew that if I stopped halfway, collect my glider, go all that way up again, I might be already burnt out. So let me focus on getting this first attempt right 100%. And as long as the wing is on top of me and there are no collapses, I will just give it my best and continue. That's what I did. And the moment that I just moved up and I was out, I was like, oh, I've done it. Now I'm there. So that transition was just like unbelievable. It's like, now I'm in my harness. The wing is on top. It's like, yes, I did it. And I started looking, the screams around me, the joy. It was really beautiful. And looking at the mountain, it was really nice. The first few minutes were extremely turbulent after the takeoff. Lots of strong bubbles and shaking. The wing is not pressurized. But then a few minutes later, it was almost like the wing is just flying itself. And it was really nice. So that was the view from there. The cloud base was way, way low down. I had already the landing spot in my GPS, but also another indication was which angle with the compass to fly, because that's the direction where I'm heading towards. And almost around 30 kilometers from the takeoff, that's where I should be landing. We visited the landing spot before the hike, and that's something which also helped us to visualize it. It was a big school with a football pitch there, and it's surrounded by forest. So when I came on top of that area, it was also clear for me that, not just from the GPS, but that this is the area that I will land in. So it was a very smooth flight from here. It was around 30-kilometer glide all the way from there. And a few kilometers after the mountain, I said, okay, let me take a round and see how the mountain looked like. So that's where I took off from. And also you can see the hiking routes at the bottom all the way to the top. So I just took one round and then back again. I did not want to lose a lot of height or to do any maneuvers, okay? Then this is around maybe 25 kilometers from the mountain. I took a round on top of the cumulus clouds. It was really, really amazing. Some of the pilots in our group, they went into the clouds and they said they might not find that opportunity to get into a cumulus from the top down. And for me, I said, I'll play it safe. I just want to fly next to the cumulus, and I want to come and land. And it was really beautiful. And each one between us, maybe there was like 10, 15 minutes. So the whole route was just for me, for myself. I did not see any other paraglider, and no other paraglider saw me. So it was like this magical moment for each one of us to fly on their own and to have all that landscape. And here in the middle of the picture, you'll see maybe I came around 1,000 meters above the landing. And then I thought, okay, no point of going further and coming back. Let me just, spiral down all the way and come down to the landing. And then when I landed there, it was that moment. It was like maybe 30 degrees, while at the takeoff it was minus 20. And it was like, wow, now I'm here. Thanks. Okay, thanks. That was really, really amazing. So I was really happy that I made it, a good landing, a good takeoff, and something that 9 months ago seemed like a huge challenge, a very, very big thing. Would I be able to do it or not? I just really been able to experience it and to do it. So it was really nice. And not just for me, all the people who supported me. I think it's whatever I've done, there are so many people in the background, whether supporting, porters, teaching, coaching, and so on. So it was really a nice moment. And it was amazing. Coming down, there was a small tent, also a camera crew, part of the camera crew taking the video. And there was a nice samosa and kebab. And I was like, okay, I want to eat now. So I just ate and just relaxed, and then started some of the other pilots coming and some of the tandems coming and landing. And it was really nice. So the team outcome here is that 5 solo pilots were able to fly. 4 tandem paragliders launched with their passengers after so many attempts. So really, I mean, for them, it was not easy to take off from there. And you will see in the video, Wings of Kilimanjaro, some of these failed attempts of the tandems and how some of them really fell on their faces, okay, and scratched and then come back again. But unfortunately, 13 hikers hiked down 2 days later because after all of us, we took off, the cloud came all the way to the top, strong wind, and they made a camp on the crater. And they said, okay, let's wait for tomorrow. Probably we'll fly tomorrow. The next day was rain. The other day was rain. So it was really unfortunate for them that they could not fly. So they hiked all the way down. But the good thing is that during that expedition on 2016, everybody came safe. And that's something which was really good. In addition, after that, there was a visit to the Masai, and there was the water well, which was supported by the charity, the school, which was supported by the charity. And that was really something good, that it was not just about the hike and the fly, but also leaving something for the community which was there, which is very good, which was very good for them. Okay. Any question or continue? I have just 2 more slides.
I think, yeah, continue. You got everyone in a good flow.
Okay,
yeah.
Great. So for me, it's like a dream that came as a reality. And then when I reflect, was it about the flight? Okay, it was a beautiful flight going from almost 5,900 meters, being able to fly and just think of nothing, no distance goal, no cross country, no soaring. Just even if you see my videos, I was flying the glider with one finger, just one finger, that's it. And it was so smooth that way that it was fully present. And that 1 hour passed so quickly. And I think it's a flight of a lifetime, really. Is it about the learning and the skills that I gained during those 9 months? I think it's something which really helped me and boosted my capability and my confidence. Is it about the relationships? Until now, I'm connected to some of the people that I was with, whether it was through the learning process or the hiking, even some of the porters and some of the supporting crew or the Wings of Kilimanjaro team. So it was really a strong relationship which was built. And also the unknown people that we helped through the charity. So there was a lot of positive, I think, out of this trip on myself and also on my work. Because when I went back in October to work, I found that the team delivered the project. It was very successful, achieved the target. And then it was also a confidence for them that they can do a project and deliver it without me being there. So, I can make a lot of things out of just simple project or simple goal. But something that I realized also, not from that activity by itself, but a recent realization is that I really get joy from non-competitive challenges, okay? In a non-competitive environment, I put myself 100%. I upgrade my skill. I learn. I experience my life in a different way, okay? While if the environment is extremely competitive, then usually I don't do well. So this is part of the awareness as of now. It doesn't mean that I will stay like this all the time, but I knew that here there was no competition. Actually, there was cooperation and there was support. And this is where I think I've done my best. But when I go to competition, another side of me shows up and then I don't do well and I don't enjoy it. So I will continue be inspired of activities like that where it's non-competitive for now. At least it's just maybe competitive with myself and not with the others around me. Okay? But looking at the factors, I think it was a dream, okay? Maybe not a dream that I had for many years, but a dream that I was inspired by the video, okay? Kilimanjaro was something that I had a thought of doing, but not the idea of flying, because some friends did Kilimanjaro, and I thought, oh, maybe one day I'll do Kilimanjaro, it would be nice. But another factor also is that I went on my own pace. I accepted my level, that, okay, I'm not the best hiker in the group. I'm not the best mountaineer. I'm not the best pilot, but I will give it 100%. And that was really a full acceptance. And whatever happens, happens. I set up the input goals, and that was something that really, really helped. And then the output goals. My commitment was extremely high on the preparation and on the execution, okay? I was acting in a mindful way. So that was the hiker mindset, step by step. And I enjoy the process. I think the process of learning, whether it's on flying or learning on physical fitness, on food, and so on mental as well, was really an enjoyable process, which was really good. And that focus was on myself. I did not focus on the others and what did they do, what they did not do. So that was one of the things that was really helped. And at the end, I think summarizing this with this process of rewiring, which is a combination of the process of flow and how to put this into practice. And this process of flow is something also that I've learned from Thomas, okay? Not just for the flying, but also for professional and for life, is that how to match the skill level with the challenge level in a way that I can get myself into that zone where I'm really performing well and I'm developing at a very fast pace, okay? And not to take a challenge which is extremely big and then I get anxious or I get worried, or I take a challenge which is extremely low and then I get bored of it and I don't enjoy it, okay? And my approach for this one is to do a step-by-step learning, okay? And how to control the variable as much as possible. So for example, 2016 start, I did not do any hike and fly. I did not do big mountains. I did not fly from a very high mountain. So if I said, okay, I want to go carry my glider, go there, set up my tents, and I'll do it on my own. Most probably it will be too big of a challenge that I would do it on my own. So I say, okay, how can I minimize the variables and go on a supported route on the beginning? And all what I need is my physical, my mental, and my flying. So I think these are already many variables that I need to manage. And after doing that, I said, okay, now I want to venture more into the hike and fly, but also instead of taking my glider and my tent and go and set up anywhere, let me do an unsupported 1 week hike in Corsica. And that was the GR20. So I did 7 days where I had the food, the tent, and we were a group of 6, and everything that I needed was on my bag. And it was my first time that I set up my tent and food and everything for 7 days in a row in nature, in a tough hike on my own. And then I said, yeah, now I can do a hike for 7 days on my own. And I know how to now plan and ration my food and, all these elements. So that was one skill that I can now rewire and I can do. And then now, okay, let me do a longer or a higher distance in a single day, but without a glider. So I've done a 2,500 meter on 1 day up and then down, okay, on the same day. So I reached to 4,100 meter and then down without acclimatization. I wanted to test how will I do on a single day without acclimatization, just in case I needed it in the future. And it was like a big, big goal for me because in the past, I just to do 1,000 meter max, acclimatize, then another 1,000. So to push for 2,500 was like a big thing. I prepared for it and I've done it in 1 day and came back again. So that's another rewiring. And then did the 1 week of unsupported hike and fly, but instead of tents, sleeping in huts. So then I don't need to set up tents and cook food. I can go and eat at the huts. So then I said, now, yes, I can go find out about new flying, different landings, new hiking route, but I don't need to worry about where to set up my tent and where to get my food and all these kind of things. So now I'm building all these different skills and experiences. So if I want to go for a vol biv, I've done different bits and pieces that will enable me that I say, okay, when I find the challenge which I really enjoy, then I will go and I can do a vol biv on my own with my tent and the route that I like according to my skill, and then I will enjoy it. And this is the way that I see how to get into this channel of flow and how to develop the skill and the challenge level in a gradual way. So I always stay in a level where I can be at the arousal zone, but maybe sometimes in the anxiety, but I know, and I can get easily into the arousal and into the flow zone instead of being shocked, okay, at one shot. Because I had experiences where I go for a challenge which is really big, and from the first day I'm shocked. And it's like, oops, no, that's too big. So go back and do it this way. So that's the method that I've used. Thanks a lot. And questions, please.
Okay, cool. You can remove the slide.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think we have some questions. So Nina, do you want to guide the questions?
Yeah, the first one was from YouTube. Okay, he was asking, Divedi was asking, like, what was your flight duration?
The flight duration?
Yeah.
It was about 1 hour. 1 hour. And it was from 5,880 all the way down to around 1,000 meters. So you can say it was about 5,000 descent in 1 hour. And it was about 30 kilometers flight. A straight line almost.
Okay. So
next stop down ever for me.
So next one was from Prashant sir. He was interested in your PPT slideshow. So would it be possible for you to share it with him? He was just asking that.
If there are specific ones that he's interested, I can share some of that specific ones. Yes.
Okay. Any more question, guys? Varun, you had a question? Please unmute yourself.
Yeah. Varun had a question.
Yes, Varun.
Good evening, Faisal.
Good evening.
An amazing story, and the way you told it was really, really nice.
Thank you.
Very inspiring, frankly.
Thanks.
Especially for the people who have a dream of going hike and fly. So this part where you said that in order to achieve a goal, there is a step-by-step process to it. Especially in terms of hike and fly, what were the initial challenges when you thought of doing it, when you started with it? What all challenges you faced? And as you said that you took a training also, so how that training helped, and what all initial things that they made you do which helped you in gaining experience towards hike and fly?
Yeah. So at the start, the hike and fly, break it down into the elements, okay? So what do I need? I need hiking skills. So hiking skills, am I able really to hike for, 10 hours a day and have the endurance for it or not? And it depends what sort of hike, because some hikes are like a walk. Some of them requires like scrambling. Some of them requires maybe using a rope. So I knew that this Kilimanjaro does not require a rope. It's just really about the endurance. So I knew that I selected something which I can, just by physical fitness and maintaining my pace, that I will be able to do. But on other hike and fly, like for example, the one in Switzerland, I needed to know how to read the maps in order to find the hiking routes. And there were applications that I learned how to use in order to find the optimal one. So this is on the hiking bit, but also on the hiking, when to eat, what not to eat, the high energy food, keeping myself hydrated, and so on. So all these small bits and pieces about hiking, so I can be at full energy. But when it comes to the flying, some of the key critical things was takeoffs and landings, okay? So, and at that time, really, my takeoffs was not that great, okay? I did not spend a lot of time ground handling, and I was not very confident in my takeoffs. So that's why I went to Dune du Pilat and I practiced it a lot over there. Then, but unfortunately, I did not do a lot of practice on ground other than, Dune du Pilat. And I think this is something that I want to do more. And I really realize now, since I started doing hike and fly last year in Switzerland, is that it's one of the maybe most important skills, because you fly from a place which could be very small, the wind could be nil or it could be so strong, and there's no room for error. So takeoff is one of the most required skills to ensure that the start is really good and the rest will be fine. So that's the other one. And the third skill, which was really important for me, is how to understand my wing, its behavior, and how to deal with collapses. So the SIV is something that really helped me to gain. I did not need to use it, but I think it really just prepared myself with the memory and the confidence that I can manage that. And I've just done it step by step until I think putting all these Lego pieces together and just putting them, connected at the hike. So I think that was the main thing for me.
Thanks a lot.
Okay, Arif, you're next.
Hi, Faisal.
Hi, Arif.
Hey, big fan, man. You got yourself a big fan from today.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Kilimanjaro, the word itself gives me goosebumps. Meeting the people of Masai, going up to the summit of Kilimanjaro and flying from Kilimanjaro. Oh, I can't even dream about that, man.
Yeah, you can.
I have a very, very simple question. After reaching the summit, after you went to the top of Kilimanjaro, were you eager to take off, or you just wanted to sit there and enjoy and celebrate your hike?
Okay.
What was in your mind at that time?
Okay, I'll tell you my habit usually. My habit when I go to the takeoff, that I like to chill out and enjoy and see other people flying and, then take off. So that was my usual habit. But when I reached to the top, I think the moment was really emotional, that I was fully charged up. And then I thought, okay, what will I do now? Shall I stay and rest and relax and tell the others they fly? Or, shall I just take off? So I said, now it's very slow wind, okay? I don't know what's going to happen, in half an hour or 1 hour. It seems like this is a good window. Let me use it now. I don't want to waste any time. So let me celebrate down instead of celebrating at the top. And I think it was really a good call that I took off early, because if I took off late, I don't know if I was going to be able really to take off, or, if this would have been possible or not. So I was really glad that I took off very quickly and just left the mountain.
One more question, Faisal. Yeah. After takeoff, you must have been given your route to the landing, right?
Yeah.
What was the distance in kilometers? Was it like reachable, or was there any trick that if there is any upwind, you might not reach?
Okay, so with almost 5,000 meter descent, it was going to be possible to do like 40K, easily. And the distance was around 30K. But from the instructions that we got from the beginning is not to get excited and start doing wing overs close to the mountain, okay, and start showing off, or to play too soon and then ending up in the forest where there might not be routes, okay? So I think the safety briefing was very clear, is, try to go as fast, as clear as possible into the town, and then from there, go there. So the funny thing is that when I took off, the GPS did not work. At that freezing temperature, the GPS did not work. The camera, the battery, it was full before the hike, but it became really small that I used to take like 20 seconds, 30 seconds and switch it off. I had gloves which were battery operated. The battery drained. So it was like, it's good that I had energy. But maybe around at 3,000 meter, the GPS operated again. And then it was clear what was the distance and the goal. But for me, I was going on the direction much more than the GPS, because we were heading almost south from the mountain, and just a bit between 25 and 30K from the south. That's where the landing spot was. So yeah, it was a very nice 30 kilometer.
And Faisal, last question. What will be your 3 advices if somebody calls you and say, I want to do Mount Kilimanjaro, Wings Kilimanjaro? What will be your 3 advices for them?
Okay, if they want to fly with flight off Kilimanjaro?
Yes, what will be your 3 advices?
Okay, so I think the first advice is to go with Wings of Kilimanjaro. That's one thing, because the preparation is so good, and also the safety is so good that, there is a high level that, you will do it in a good way. Because there are some other groups that went with lower preparation, and it leads to accidents. Although, unfortunately, with Wings of Kilimanjaro, there was one fatality in 2019, but I think it's something which was personal. But I saw some other new groups that go now, and how, difficult it is. So if someone is not really prepared for that, by the time you reach to the summit, you're already exhausted, and maybe you're not able to fly. Okay, so that's, I think, really to select the group and to be sure of researching the group that you're going with, that they have really the good experience, and to be sure of that. That's one thing. The other thing is preparation as much as possible, to prepare physically and to prepare for the flyings. I think these are the key 2 things. Maybe third one is, why do you want to do it? Something that's really meaningful for you, I think. So when you face challenges in the preparation, or face challenges even during the hike, you keep on going. Because if it's not really meaningful, then you might just stop, or you might say, okay, why am I here?
Thank you, Faisal. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot for the questions.
Okay, so I think that's all for the questions.
Mm-hmm.
And I would like to personally thank you from everyone present and all those who are watching. It was fabulous. I mean, in so many ways, not just, the hiking and the flying part, but the nuances of it, the mental aspect of it. And I think you opened everyone, at least me, in a big way, that, my God, there are possibilities, and that things are achievable. If we break them down and do the right preparation, I think we can really push ourselves to achieve what we want. So that was very clear and beautifully shared. And also you went on to share, like deeper stuff of how to deal with challenges that we face inside, which we never actually, talk about, the mental aspect of it. That if you can keep it simple, you be in the present moment, giving yourself to the task at hand, accepting the, challenges or the things that not in control. I think very beautifully put. And I think we'll have you, maybe once again with some other aspect of, flying and, preparation and coaching. We'll plan that with you. And big thanks. I really loved it. And really thank you from, from a heart for what you shared. It was much more than any of us expected. That is really true sharing. Thank you very much. I think we have a question.
Yeah, thanks.
From somebody.
I think just before the question, Avi, I think it's really amazing for me to see how I learned from you on the cliff in Bali, and just having that first solo flight there into flying off Kilimanjaro. So it's really thanks to you and the instructors and Templepilots, because all of you really contributed in my learning. I'm still learning until now. I still want to perfect my takeoff and ground handling. But I think, through you, I was able to see the world in a different way. I think not through flying, I was not able to know myself and to go through all these mental aspects as well.
Thank you. Yes, Pratik, go for it.
So Faisal, quick small question is, are the folks at Wings of Kilimanjaro, the people who are organizers who trek with you along the route, are they mountaineers as well as paragliders, or they were separate teams of mountaineers and people who are paragliders who would, be there with you like that?
Okay, so the guy who created the charity Wings of Kilimanjaro is Adrian McRae, Australian guy. He summited 7 times Kilimanjaro, so he's a mountaineer, and he flew multiple times during the exploration expedition as well as through the group with us. So he's both a paragliding pilot as well as a mountaineer. But also some of the people who joined in each expedition as some of the tandem pilots in the group, some of them are mountaineers, some of them are paragliding pilots, and so on. But this is on the charity and the organization group. But then there is a different group who takes care of the logistics. Okay, so that's someone who's from Tanzania and taking care of all the logistics of the group. And both they've done a fantastic job. Because I was seeing other groups also who were going there, and sometimes they really suffer, and seeing some people being carried down. And so I think the way that it was organized was extremely good to allow the people to focus and to have the energy to fly from the top, because I think it's more energy required than just going to the top, summiting and walking down.
Good. Makes sense. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you. And I really love the part of the charity aspect, like you're making a difference to lives there. And, meeting those wonderful people and, making a difference in the lives of those children there. And, the water tank and supplies and stuff.
Exactly.
That is really beautiful. Made it really a wholesome kind of a, trip.
Exactly.
So thank you very much, Faisal. That was really fantastic. I think everyone loved it. And thank you for making, I think, a shift for, I think, everyone present from, romantic ideas and bringing them, closer to reality and seeing the sense of possible change, for everyone, surely for me. So thank you for this adventure.